Hello out there. How is everyone? I hope everyone is doing well. Let me see. I can't see myself right now. How is everyone? Hello, hello. I hope everyone is doing well. I decided to come on tonight to talk cross stitch. So I'm going to give it a few minutes while I am setting up here, giving people an opportunity to come in. If anyone does come in, that's great. If not, I will make sure this is posted and hopefully I can get some of my cross stitch questions answered. So let me see how everyone is doing. See if I can tell who comes in. This is the first time I'm doing an actual Facebook Live. I don't typically go live on Facebook. I normally go live using StreamYard on YouTube. But I figured, why not try this tonight? Only because I have a bunch of stuff that I'm going to be working on tonight. It's early for me. I was home today. I worked from home, which is a good thing. So it gave me an opportunity to not only decide to pull out my cross stitch, but to get somewhat organized on what I want to be working on and get my questions that I have for the cross stitch community gathered, which I have. So I'm going to give everybody a few minutes. Let me expand my video. Let me get comments up. Let's see. Hey Brian. Hey Terry girl. How are you? Brian, I'm so glad you're here because you know I got some cross stitch questions, Brian. And I know you are a cross stitcher and you're going to be able to help me. Terry is my girl. How you doing, Terry? Hopefully some of the stuff that we hear tonight will help both of us. But let me get these comments over here so you guys hold on tight for 1 second. Let me make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to open it in a new tab so I can see the comments on the same screen. Let's see if I can pop it out. No, I don't like the pop out view. So let me move this over here. You guys hang tight for a minute while I am setting up. All right, I'm up. Okay. I'm good, Terry. How are you? Long day at work, but that's okay because that's us every day, right? We know how to manage those long days at work. Brian, I need your help. So, first and foremost, I can't wait to see you at the Lone Star Retreat, Brian. Can't wait to see you. And remember last year, you might not remember, but I said to all the Stitchy friends that were at the Lone Star Retreat that I would have some projects this year when I come. And I got some projects. I can't wait. I'm hoping I can get 1 or 2 finished so I can bring in, you know, I do have some questions, but I'm having so much fun stitching. I didn't think I would have as much fun as I do when I diamond paint, but guess what? I'm having a lot of fun with cross stitch. It's a little bit more relaxed. I can sit back as long as I have good lighting. Went to the eye doctor. I don't really need magnification. All I needed were readers. So I can have my readers on. And I can see everything. I'm absolutely loving it. Anything that's close to me. So I have this magnifier, right, that I got from Art Dot. So you guys might not know, because I'm not sure if you guys were on my YouTube when I was talking all about Art Dot. But I have this from Art Dot. And this is very helpful, but I don't really need it. Again, it's a little uncomfortable when I try to sit back and diamond paint. I have to, you know, get it positioned. It's okay, but I have to get it positioned in a certain way. But usually I move it from here to this side is a little bit better. But I don't have time to be moving up and down and all that good stuff. So guess what? When I went to the eye doctor, I basically was like, what kind of magnifier do I need so I can see? I mean, I really want to see what's good, the fabric. And she was like, you don't even need a magnifier. You just need readers. What? I guess that's what doctors are for. I'm not a doctor, so I thought I needed magnification. But the readers work great. They work great. So I think this is 1.75, I want to say. Because they didn't have 150. She told me to get 150, that would be good. But 1.75, they're pretty good. Pretty good. They work very, very well. All right, so let me start with since I got Brian on. And Terry, meet Brian. Brian, meet Terry. You guys are both in the chat. Terry is someone I know from work. Love her to death. Brian is someone I know from the crafting community. Love him to death. So Brian, question for you. We're going to start. I absolutely love Teresa Kogut's work. So when I saw this in this PunchNeedle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, when I saw it, hey Rhonda, when I saw that, Brian, I could not wait to stitch it. So Rhonda, we're going to start talking stitching. I could not wait. I love it so much. And I have this black here because it actually is not the pattern on the other side, but I'm just trying to get used to covering patterns so I don't, you know, break any rules. But I absolutely love it. Rhonda, meet Terry and Brian. Brian, meet Rhonda. Terry, meet Rhonda. Rhonda is also Dipping Time on YouTube. You guys got to check Rhonda out. Her YouTube is awesome. Love it, Rhonda. All right, so here's my thing, Brian. And I actually figured out what I did wrong as I was prepping for this live tonight. So what I did was the called for fabric for this particular pattern is 40 count linen Hemingway. So I was like, oh man, I don't have that. And I don't even know if I could see 40 count as a new stitcher, right? And I really wanted to start stitching it because I really love it. I wish I would have waited, but I didn't. It's okay. So I was like, all right, let me see what I have, because I've been acquiring, and as you guys can see, this yellow little card here is all stitchy stuff. I usually have all my diamond painting stuff here, but when I stitch, I move all my diamond painting stuff on the other side of the room, which is not that far from me, but it's kind of towards the wall, and I might put it, the diamond painting itself, back on the couch. Now, the couch back here, I have a diamond painting there. I like to stitch there. I like to sit there, sit back with my feet up. As you can see, I have things on that end table there. I moved that off and I put a light there. So I have a light, which is an ot light, and then, you know, it moves up and down. It's not a floor light. It's a desk light, and it's a little, I guess it's a little end table, so that's like a desk. And I really don't need much more, right? But I like to relax. So that's usually my stitching spot, but because I'm videoing, I figure I'll come up here so you guys can see me. So now, let's get back to this pattern. So this pattern here is Teresa Kogut. Absolutely love it. And it calls for 40 count linen Hemingway, which I have on the way. Only because I really like the way it looks in the picture. The size is perfect. And I'm going to do a companion piece. But I wanted to get started. And I had some, let me see, what do I have this on? I had 16 count Aida, right? Because I'm a new stitcher. I figured Aida is typically, I know Rhonda, that's what I thought too. So Rhonda, you might have missed the first couple of minutes that when I started. So when I went to the eye doctor, I wear contact lenses. So when I went to the eye doctor, I let her know, hey, I'm stitching now, and I just want to make sure I can see some of the higher count fabrics. 14 count, I play around with it, but I just wasn't really liking the way it looked. I like the way the patterns come out on the smaller or higher counts, but smaller looking, I guess, finished pieces. She was like, I said, what kind of magnification do I need? You know, I have this art dot magnifier, which clamps onto the side of the table, right? And this is great, but sometimes I don't want to sit here. You know, I want to relax and sit back, put my feet up, and I can't do that here, right? I said, I got to get a different chair so I can sit back and put my feet up. And she's like, you don't even need that. All you need are readers. And I was like, really? She's like, yes. I said, what kind of readers do I buy? She's like, go to Walmart, Rite Aid, CVS, whatever, and get you plus 1.5 readers. So I went to Walmart and I purchased these. They were about, I don't know, $7. And they are 1.75 because they didn't have 1.5s. And I could see. I mean, really see. I was like, holy crap. I didn't realize that. I thought I needed some high count magnification. Hey, Tammy girl, how are you? Oh my God, Tammy's in the house. So glad, Tammy. Tammy, thanks for joining us. So this is all about stitchy talk. Tammy, I am loving cross stitch. I am loving it. And I have to say it here. Terry is a friend of mine from work who's in the chat. Brian, love Brian to death. Met him at the Lone Star Retreat. Rhonda is Dipping Time over on YouTube. Met her through the diamond painting community, but she starting to cross stitch as well, right? And I went to the eye doctor because I like the way the higher count, the finishes. I like the way the finished product looks on the higher count. I like the way that small look. I don't like very big, you know, lower count fabric per whatever we call it. So 16 count. I like the way 32 count looks over 16 count. So I wanted to be able to see it. And she's like, you don't need a magnification. You just need readers. So I went and bought some $7 readers from Walmart, and I can see everything. So now, I was just saying before you came on, Tammy, that I absolutely love this pattern. So I ordered this PunchNeedle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. I've had it, I guess it came out 2 months ago. I got it the month it came out. It's a 2024 summer issue, and there's a couple things in here, but I absolutely love this. And I'm like, I want to stitch it. I want to stitch it so bad. Hey, Marla. So I had some 16 count Fox and Rabbit Ada. And I was like, all right, let me use that. Let me cut a piece and let me use it. The mistake I made is I was looking at the call for, and it was 40 count linen Hemingway, right? And this is before I even really realized I could see 40 count. And I said, all right, let me get the inches, 7.5 by 10 inches. Guess what? That's for 40 count, not for 16 count. So I didn't pay attention to that. Of course, I should have known. I'm a math person. If you're using a different size, different per inch, it's going to be a different size fabric, but I didn't think about it. So I cut the piece of fabric that I had for the 40 count. Now, so I am going to be starting this over. But here it is, right? And I said, I'm going to be starting it over. It's pretty big here. And I was just like, as I was doing it, I said, well, this is my practice piece. That's how I looked at it. This is my practice piece. Let me practice. Then I was like, you know what? No, I want 40 count. So I went out and ordered 40 count, which I should be getting in a couple of days. And I really want to do it on 40 count. Like I said, I didn't think I was going to be able to see it. But I'm like, all right, you know what, Rochelle? You have some 32 count linen that I went to my brick and mortar and I bought some fabric. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to see it. So I was just like, I'll hold it until I get better, right? I want to get some cross stitch underneath my belt. Well, guess what? I have enough cross stitch underneath my belt. And when I say that, just doing a couple of projects, not finishing them, but starting them, I'm like, I can just try it. Let me try it. So again, this is 16 count Ada, Fox and Rabbit. And I didn't get very far, but I decided, I'm going to get the 40 count. I cut the piece the wrong size anyway. So if I finish this, I mean, it is right up to the edge. Once I go over here and finish Miss Liberty, I think I'm like all the way over here. And I think this is called salvage, Tammy. Brian, correct me if I'm wrong. I think this is salvage, whatever this is here. And I was watching something and it says you should always, or they recommend that you start your cross stitch piece with the salvage to the left. Either way, I cut this fabric too small. So I said, you know what? I can play around here and just get comfortable with the stitching until I get my 40 count. I'm comfortable enough. Right? So maybe I'll keep going, but right now, I'm waiting for my 40 count. And I'm going to tell you now, that particular piece I just showed you guys, right? There is also a companion piece. I went and got the Hello America. I love Teresa Kogut. I love her designs. So I purchased the Hello America magazine because it's a companion piece in here. So my original, I got to cover this pattern here. Can't show you guys this side. Let me just cover this. Here we go. This is the companion piece to Mrs. Liberty. So I'm going to do Mrs. Liberty and then I'm going to do the companion piece. And my goal was to try and get Mrs. Liberty done by the end of this month. If I can get the fabric by this weekend, I think I can get it done. And start this one and finish it off at the Lone Star Retreat if I'm not done. I love it. I love Teresa Kogut. So now, my first question. On this fabric here, 16 count, I was using a size, which needle here? A size 28. DMC needle, size 28. And I really didn't pay attention. I don't know why I got 28. Maybe it was on something I was reading. But I have a bunch of size 28. It might have been on the call for something I was reading, right? It works very well on this Ada. So then I said, you know what? I have a sampler that I want to start. I'm going to start it while I'm waiting for this fabric to come in. I'm just going to start it. So let me pull it out because I want you guys to see it. I just started this one, and I started this, I want to say Saturday. I was getting ready to work on it tonight, so I put it back in the QSnap. Another thing is, I like stitching in hand. So that 16 count Ada, I can stitch in hand. I love it. I don't know, I'm getting used, trying to get used to hoops and QSnaps. Oh, those magazines I got from Annabella's. Annabella's, and I'll put it in the chat in a couple minutes, Brian. I got it from Annabella's Needlework. They're on Etsy, as well as they have a website as well. That's where I got both of those magazines from. But I just put this one back in the QSnap. I'm so afraid to cut my fabric. I need help with that. I'm so afraid because I feel like I know how to math. I feel like I messed that piece of fabric up, right? So this next one is linen, 32 count linen that I got. And I'll show you guys the picture. But here it is. I just started this. I worked on this for, I think that took me about 35 minutes to do. Right? And again, I didn't think I would be able to see 32 count linen. But when I put these readers on, I can stitch all day. I can see this very good. And for me, I need to turn my lights down when I'm looking at my fabric. When it's too much light, it's just better for me when I turn my lights down. So I turn, these lights in here are pretty bright. I turn them down and I can see this all day. So that's a 32 count, and I'll show you guys what this should look like in a couple minutes. This is, this is a PDF pattern that I got from Etsy. It's the Spanish Stitcher. And I saw this on Brenda and Laura. I think it's the Serial Starter, right? So I saw this on their actual, hey Angela, YouTube video. And I love it. But guys, look, I'm so afraid. So I need my stitchy friends to help me. I'm so afraid to cut this fabric. I'm so afraid because I don't want to cut it and then I cut it incorrectly and I don't have the right amount of fabric to finish the piece. And I think this piece, and I'll get the information in a second, guys. But look at all this fabric. So I need help trying to figure out how to cut the fabric to the right size because this is a bunch of fabric. Look at this. Look at this. I'm just afraid to cut it. And it's beautiful fabric. I know it's all wrinkly because I had it all balled up in the QSnap. But it is beautiful fabric. So I think what I'm going to do here, and this is a sampler. So it has a border. This is the border going all the way around. And then it's a sampler. And I'll show you guys a picture in a second. So Brian, you're going to help me when I come to the Lone Star Retreat. I don't know how to cut this darn fabric. I also bought a sewing machine. Don't know how to sew. But I'm going to figure it out so I can serge the edges. And typically what I do is, when I'm measuring, I just use this, right? And if it calls for 9 inches to finish, I just add 4 so I can add 4 inches to it so I can have 2 inches on both sides. But for some reason, I'm just afraid to cut it. So right now, I'm not going to cut it. I'm going to leave it big. But I want to go back to the needles. So because I was using a size 28 needle on that 16 count Ada, I was using the same needle when I came here and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm making these holes stretch out too much. I'm making them stretch out too much, and I don't believe there was a called for, there was needle size, but I know better. I got to get a smaller needle. So I pulled out my Pat Carson needles, and they're a size, let's see, 26, and it was perfect. So that 28, I knew the 28 was too big, I knew the 28 was too big. So is that right, Brian? So when I do linen versus Aida, does linen typically take a smaller needle? I'm thinking it's a finer fabric, so it takes a smaller needle. Then I noticed, okay, I'm not stretching out the holes. But I noticed that very quickly. Like the first 4 or 5 stitches I put in, I was like, wait a second. I'm making these holes too big. Yes, Marla, me too. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I decided to do. But it's so much fabric. So when I'm trying to all it up and put it in a QSnap, maybe I'll use a bigger QSnap. And again, I'm new to stitching, so I'm just trying out things until I get comfortable. At least I figured out I like stitching on linen. I like it. I like stitching on linen. I can see the holes. I can see 32 count. And I also realized that I need a smaller needle. So when I'm stitching on Aida, I go for, and also Monaco, because I have a project on Monaco. So let me show you the project that's on Monaco. So here's linen. I love linen. I can stitch on linen. I don't have a problem. So I'm ready. And I love this one, guys. This one here has a little bit of marbling in it. I guess they call it modeling. It looks like a tan marble. You can't see it. It doesn't come up on the camera. But I really love this linen. Now, let me move this to the side because I want to show you guys something. So I'm using a size 26 needle on this. And this is a 32 count linen. And I'm using a QSnap right now. QSnap's a little bulky. I don't know. Again, I'm new. It's a little bulky. The hoop, I feel like when I have a hoop, when I stitch, it's weird because I'm like this and I'm holding it like this and I'm stitching. And I don't stitch with 2 hands yet, guys. I'm still with 1 hand. But I'm quite comfortable with, I can do both. Before, this was like awkward for me, but I've been using it a bit and it's okay. And I have all sizes, but I like this size better. I like to see a smaller size when I'm stitching instead of having a big hoop. And I don't know, it's just working out this way better. But before I move on to the next thing, size 26 needle, 32 count linen. I love it. Now, what do you guys think about, oh, great question, how to figure out needle size per fabric and count. So that's a good one. So Brian, for me, Brian's a stitcher, and I know Tammy's a stitcher. I know Tammy's in here too, if Tammy's still in here. So is it just trial and error, or do you guys typically look at the call for when you're trying to figure out what needle to use on what fabric, or it's just with experience? So what do you guys think? Like, what's your suggestion? For me, it was just experience. I was moving from a 16 count Aida, which I was using a size 28, and I used that same size 28 on my linen and noticed that I was making the holes bigger, and I didn't want to do that. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I got to get a smaller needle. And I got all sizes from 22 through 28. So I was like, let me go to 26. And I like the Pat Carson needles. They're thin, they're shorter. And Pat Carson, God rest her soul, I believe she's passed. But I bought these probably 3 years ago, and they've been sitting like in a bin because I knew I wanted to cross stitch, and I've been teaching myself for 2 years ago. And I got it from Fat Quarter Shop, and I had a whole packet of them, and they were perfect. So I'm like, that's it, size 26 on 32 count. So I got that down. But one other thing, while we're on this project, let me see. Oh, here we go. So what you think, Brian? Oh, what is that, Brian? A Nerge hoop? Let me write that down. Nerge hoop. Is that something, Brian, I can get from like cross stitch store, 1-2-3 stitch? A Nerge hoop. Has anybody else heard about that? A Nerge hoop? I'll try it. Like right now, I'm like in discovery, trying to find the things that work best for me. Stitching in hand, I love. It's easy. I can control the fabric. I love it. But the linen, I need to stretch it a bit. The higher counts, so I can make sure I can see the holes with no problem. So a Nerge hoop, I have to look that up. Nerge hoop. And Rhonda, as far as needle, what size needle to use on what fabric, Like I noticed that in the magazines, they give you suggestions. So they give you suggestions, like for that one I showed you, Mrs. Liberty, the suggestion was, it says, Weeks DyeWorks. I'm going to talk about that in a second. It also kept DMC. It gives you the key for DMC as well as Weeks DyeWorks, even though Weeks DyeWorks is blank. So I'm figuring most likely that's something they probably put for all her patterns. So if it uses Weeks DyeWorks, it'll give you whatever the Weeks DyeWorks thread color is. And if it uses DMC, mostly all of them have a DMC conversion. It has it, but for this particular one, the DMC conversion is here. And I can show you this because it's not the pattern. So the DMC conversion is here. Weeks DyeWorks is blank except for one item at the bottom. And it also says 28 count tapestry needle. So it's saying, I'm sorry, size 28, not 28 count, size 28 tapestry needle. And it's saying 40 count linen, which is very interesting because my size 28, I felt like it was making the holes big in the linen. So we'll see when I get the 40 count. So I went down to a smaller size, which worked for me. And I also like shorter needles because I can almost go all the way down to the bottom of the thread before I have to change and rethread it. When I do calculations on the phone with 123 Stitch Calculator, it tells you the size of the needle. So that's a good point. Thank you, Brian. So there are calculators, 123 Stitch, Fat Quarter Shop. They have a cross stitch calculator, and you kind of put down your, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, your thread count, not your thread, your stitch count, right, of whatever your fabric that you're using, and I believe your size, your width. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's the width and whatever the size is that they usually quote it in. I think it's width first. The stitch. It's like the stitch count. What is it called, guys? Let me see. So, for example, if it's like, I saw it somewhere. They don't have it here, but let me see one. 8 by 8 inches. No, it'll be like 123 wide by 60 high. Something like that. If you put that in, and then you calculate it, it gives you, and then you put your count in for your fabric, 28 count. It'll tell you the size to cut your fabric. It also asks you the inches that you want your borders to be. So if you want 2-inch borders, 1-inch border, you put that in, and it calculates it, and it tells you what size needle. But for me, the 28 count needle didn't work too good on the 32 count linen that I have. So I decided to go with 26, and it worked. Perfect. Now, I want to talk about fancy floss. Now here's what I have discovered, my opinion. So this project that I'm working on here is a Spanish sampler. Okay. And it calls for, it's a particular coloring cotton or something like that. I decided to go with a Weeks DyeWorks because I wanted to try Weeks DyeWorks. I haven't tried it before. And I was at my local needle workshop, and I was like, oh, I want to try Weeks DyeWorks. And they showed me some colors, and I was like, oh, I love that one. This one is Michael's Navy, right? Weeks DyeWorks. I love this blue, Michael Navy. But I'm noticing to me that it's like fraying a little bit. Now, it looks good just looking at it. But when I put the readers on, and I'm using it, it kind of looks like it's fraying. And I'm like, that's unusual. But maybe that's just how that particular thread. Hey, Sharon, how are you? Glad you can come. Maybe that's just how Weeks DyeWorks. That's how it is. Now, I don't get that with Classic ColorWorks. So I'm using Classic ColorWorks for another project, and I don't see it fraying. So what do you guys think? Sharon's a stitcher as well. Sharon, what do you think about Weeks DyeWorks versus Classic ColorWorks or any other fancy floss? Brian, Tammy, any of you guys, what do you guys think? So right now for me, like I said, I haven't done a lot. This is a linen and I love this and I just started it. But to me, it looks like as I'm doing it, it looks like it's kind of fraying a little bit, the thread. And I'm like, not, again, just looking at it here, you can't tell. But if I put these readers on and look at it, it looks a little shabby. So we'll see how that goes. But this is just one color, which I love, and I'm using DyeWorks for this one. And let me see if I had, oh, here it is, guys. So this is the sampler. I got this from Etsy. It's the Spanish Stitcher. And I love it. Hey there, Nix. How are you? Thanks for coming in. So this is, yes, coloring cotton linen was actually the fabric which was the call for, in a Nantucket color. And the thread was a flower thread. But I was like, you know what? I want to go to my needle workshop and get something that's there. Yes. I agree, Sharon. That's what I was saying, Sharon. So I just started this one. I stitched that in about, it took me like 35 minutes to stitch this when I did it, right? This is like part of the border. And I'm like, hey, Carrie, this is looking a little, it's fraying a bit. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to stick with it though, because I'm just going to stick with it. This is the first time I'm using linen. I love linen, guys. This is 32 count linen for those that are just coming in. And I absolutely love it. And again, I thought I wasn't going to be able to see it, but I can see it. I went to my eye doctor and she's like, you don't need a magnifier. You just need readers. Go get yourself some readers. And I went to Walmart and got some readers, 1.75 for like $7. And I can see it with no problem. So that's very helpful. So again here, this is this one. The stitch count on this is 182 by 167. And I absolutely love this. And I wasn't going to do this. I wasn't going to start this until I finished a couple other projects, because I love samplers, but I almost felt like, I don't know, I want to get better first because I like my stuff to look good. And I'm like, you know what? Sharon at the retreat, at the Ohio retreat, the Great Lakes retreat, gave me some confidence, as well as I was on a YouTube. I did a YouTube, and some of the comments I got back saying, please, you can do it, try it. And I know I can do anything because that's who I am, but I like to just sort of work my way up to things. But I'm so glad that I decided to do it. I wasn't going to start this until September, October, but I decided to pull it out and do it. And I absolutely love it. Yes, Carrie, absolutely. So this one again is 182 by 167. The finished size is 11.5 by 10.5. So for those that was coming in, I was saying, I'm so afraid to cut the fabric because I don't want to cut it and then it's too small. But it's so much fabric, and I like using a smaller QSnap. So I have to like ball this all up, and I gotta find a better way. And I guess when I go to the Lone Star retreat with my stitchy friends, they'll help me sort of understand how to work with all this fabric when you have big pieces. But I like to work in small sections. So right now what I do is I put it in the QSnap. And another thing I learned at the Great Lakes retreat is not to keep my fabric in the hoop or QSnap. I didn't know that before, but now I do. So after I stitch this, I was getting ready to start stitching on it tonight. I just take the QSnap off. So thank you for any tips like that. I love. But again, it's so much fabric. I want to cut it so bad, but I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do it because I'm afraid to. I don't want to mess it up. So I'm just going to deal with having so much fabric until I go all the way across and I have my border and I know how much that I can cut off. So that's what I'm going to do. And my key is, what I want to do is, I was going to do this in 4s, like cut it like this, right? And section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4. But I decided I'm going to do the border going all the way across. I'm going to go all the way across and do this border here. QSnaps is better for fabric than hoops. Why is that, Carrie? Because I want to show you guys another one that I'm working on. So that's that one. DyeWorks, Michael's Navy, 32 count linen. And I love it. And I was also saying that I don't need a lot of light when I stitch. I actually like the lights dimmed. I can see the holes better when it's a little dimmer on white fabric. I don't know why, but I can see it better. So again, that's that one there. Oh, let me put this QSnap back in here. And I'm using, on this one, I'm using Pat Carson's needle, I was saying, size 26. I started off with size 28 because I was working on a piece of Ada and I was using size 28, but that was it was too big and it was making the holes too big. So I moved to 26 and it's working perfectly. So that's that one. That's that one. So thread conditioner. So I have for Weeks DyeWorks. The one I'm using, guys, I'm using beeswax. So I saw this on, I think, with Brenda and Laura as well on their YouTube. So I just run the thread through the beeswax, and it works pretty good for me. But it still looks like it's fraying. The Weeks DyeWorks looks like it's fraying to me. So I was just wondering if you guys have any experience with using Weeks DyeWorks. The name of the pattern, the one that I just showed, I'll show you. It's on Etsy. And the name of that pattern is, I'll show it. Here it is here. It's on Etsy by the Spanish Stitcher, and it's Pure PR Sampler. And the thread that it called for is flower threads or DMC 806. But I don't have any flower threads, and I happen to be at again, I went to my local needlework shop, and they had Weeks DyeWorks out, and I love that blue. So I chose, and this is a blue sampler, so I chose to do this with Weeks DyeWorks. So do you guys have any, I think Sharon, you mentioned that Weeks DyeWorks is not the best. Anybody else have any feedback? Yes, Carrie says you only stitch on linen. I get that, Carrie. I got it. And I like linen over Aida, but again, I'm new, so I'm trying different things to see what I'm comfortable with and what I like. And I do like linen. And I do like 30 count. I have some 40 count coming because this particular pattern that I want to do calls for 40 count. I showed it earlier. Is Mrs. Liberty. I absolutely love it. And it's a companion piece. And the companion piece is in this mag is Teresa Kogut's Hello America book, because it's Teresa Kogut pattern, and I'm going to do both of those pieces. I absolutely love it. Now, I was saying I didn't have any 40 count, and I thought, woof, 40 count linen, that might be a little bit above what I'm ready for, but it's not. And that was like a month ago. So what I did was I had some Fox and Rabbit 16 count Aida, and I was saying before that I cut this fabric as if I was cutting a piece of 40 count. And of course, no, Rochelle, it's a different fabric count. You need a different size, but I wasn't thinking. So this piece is not big enough for stitching that. So I just decided, let me just do some stitching here. Let me play around. So when I do get my 40 count, I'm ready. So I'm ready. I'm hoping I can get that 40 count this weekend. I have to check where it is in the mail. And let me show you guys another project I want to do in here that I absolutely love. Look at this one here. I love this. I love it. So I want to do that one, but I'm going to do the Teresa Kogut pieces first. I love this. This is by Teresa Miller of Teresa's Primitive Treasures. It's a blue house sampler, and it finishes at 5.5 by 4 3/4. And let me see what the call for is. This is a 32 count linen country mocha, which I do have a 32 count. I have a 32 count platinum. So again, when I went to my local needlework shop, I picked up 32 count. So I have a big piece. I think I have a fat half, maybe. No, 18 by 27. Is that a fat half? I'm starting to get the terminology a little bit. Fat quarter, fat half. So I have to look that up. But I love this. So I have some hands-on designs that I bought this piece for. And I also bought this 32 count Stormy Night, which I love. So I'm going to do that blue house sampler on either the 32 count platinum, or I might do it on the 32 count Stormy Night. I'll probably use the platinum. Now, I want to show you guys something else. So again, let me look at the comments here. 40 count is my fave. Yes, Sharon, I have some 40 count. First of all, your Brenda Gervais was beautiful. And I purchased the Brenda Gervais when I came back, only because I love the one that you had at the retreat. Let me see if I have it here. Let me see. I love it. So because of the one that you had, Sharon, at the retreat, I came back and got this. I love this. So next year at the retreat, I'm going to bring it. Hopefully it'll be half done. I love that. All right. Now, I love red samplers. So I said to myself, yes, Rhonda, I love red samplers. So I said, okay, I have Teresa Kogut 2 pieces that I really love. I wanted to do, I guess September is September, something like that in Stitch Community. So I figured I can still work on the blue sampler. The blue sampler is probably going to take me a bit. But I'm going to tell you guys, once I get rolling on cross stitch, I get rolling. Like I can sit and just cross stitch for hours, but I have so much going on. But I'm going to take a day that I usually spend on diamond painting, and I'm going to split my time because I really do love cross stitch that much. I love it because I can sit and relax and sit back. I sit back on the blue couch back there and I just go to work. So now, let me just show you guys this. 2 more I want to show you. So I wanted to start a red sampler. I purchased several reds because I wanted to kind of get an idea of what red I like. And you don't know what you don't know, right? I don't know it until I actually see it. Yes, thank you, Sharon. I don't know until I see it. So I had to order some reds. So what I did was I went out on Fat Quarter Shop, right? As well as I have some DMC. And I purchased a bunch of different reds to really see which one I like. So cherry cobbler, raspberry, ribbon red, bandana. These are all reds, licorice red, and holly berry. I really like, so far, I love this ribbon red. I love this one. I love this ribbon red. And it's one called Ruby Slippers, which is off of here because I had to get more of it. And I took it to the shop with me. And it's sitting with the fabric, which I'll pull out later. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Ribbon red and Ruby Slippers. I don't have Ruby Slippers here. But I think I had it in some other packaging. Yes. Okay. So, for the red sampler that I'm going to do in October, I have the sampler. I have the fabric. And I picked out classic ColorWorks that I'm going to use. I'm going to use Ruby Slippers and Bing Cherry. These are the 2 reds that I'm going to use. And I'm going to bring this one to the Lone Star Retreat with me. I'm going to be using these 2. So I think I have about 5 skeins of both. But I have the book and the fabric already put away with my stuff that I'm going to be taking to the Lone Star Retreat. That's when I'm going to start there. Love it. Now, I want to show you guys something else though. This is a new one that just recently came out. I believe is a mother and daughter for Classic ColorWorks, and my stitchy friends can help me. This one here is called Caroling. This is a dedication to the mom. I think she recently passed away. God rest her soul. So I went and purchased some, and this is a new one for Classic ColorWorks. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's called Caroling. So I don't know if you guys know Primitive Cottage. Is the name of the company? Yes, I believe so. It's a family that stitches and designs. I love their patterns. And one of the sisters recently had a life event and she put out a free pattern. And it's on their Facebook page and it has just an amazing story behind it. It's a heartwarming story behind it. And I downloaded the free pattern and I said to myself yesterday, I want to stitch it because it's I'm hoping it's going to be a quick one, right? So what I did was I said, I'm going to use this Caroling. I'm going to use this red for it. So I have about 4 skeins of this. I don't even think I'll need that much, but I have 3 or 4 skeins of this that I ordered. And I said, you know what, I'm going to pull that one out. So let me show you guys. Now, I just started this one today, so there's not much here. But this is 28 count Monaco. And I absolutely love this fabric. I stitch in hand. I'm going to stitch this in hand. It's a small piece. It's not big. It's no bigger than probably what you see here. It's not big at all, the piece that I'm going to be working on. And I started it today. Now, this is 28 count Monaco, which is a little, of course, it's stiffer than linen. But this one here, the 28 size needle is perfect for me. So I'm using a 28 size needle here. Now, stitching in hand, I like it. I don't have a hoop. I don't have a QSnap. I don't have to worry about it. And this took me like less than a minute to do. It took me a minute to do this, right? I'm just comfortable when I'm holding it for some reason. I can just hold and I can go. And I can see this without readers, and this is 28 count. So I'm going to do this one, and I'll take a picture of this one this weekend because I'm going to work on this tomorrow. The rest of this week, I'm going to work on it. So hopefully I'll have something that I can show. But I like 28 count. I like 28 count. Now I can't show you guys there's no picture for this one here. If you go out on PrimRose Cottage, if you go out on their Facebook page, there is a free pattern, and it has, like I said, it's a great story behind it. If you read it, it's a great story. And it was touching for me, and I'm like, I definitely want to stitch that and take a picture and send in, you know, the hashtag and all that good stuff. So I'm very comfortable with seeing 28 count Monaco, and this is white. This is 28 count Monaco white, and I also have 28 count Monaco, and this is Monaco. What color is it? I want to say it's either a tea dye, even weave Monaco. I don't know the color. I got this from, where did I get this from? So I do a lot of stitching with the housewives. I bought a lot of their patterns. I have tons of their patterns. I haven't finished anything from them yet, but they use Monaco. And this is a color that they were using for one or two of their projects. So I purchased it because I purchased the projects as well. So 28 count Monaco, I'm quite comfortable. I don't have big projects for that one, but it's cutting the fabric again, guys. I'm so like, I need help with cutting the fabric. So what do you guys suggest? If they say, here's their recommended size, should I go up? Because usually they add in, when I say they, whatever magazine I'm looking at, whatever pattern I'm looking at, they usually have a 2-inch. I don't know why I cannot. You know what it is? I think I cut it right, but when I put it in a hoop or when I put it in a QSnap, I screw the margins up. I don't know why. No idea. So I think what I'm going to do is start the project without being in the QSnap in hoop, just so I can make sure I'm starting it in the right place and then put it in the QSnap or hoop. Being new, I just put it right in the QSnap, right in the hoop, and I'm just going away. And I look at it and I'm like, wait a minute. I got a 4-inch margin up here. A 4-inch margin at the top. What is going on here? But I'll get it. I guess the more I'll do, the better I get, right? All right, so that's Monaco. So right now, I like Monaco over Ada. I like Monaco. I like linen over Ada. So I do have some Ada in my wheelhouse. I have Fox and Rabbit Ada. I have some Ada that I purchased from Kaya from the Lone Star Retreat a few years back. I still have those things, and I'm sure I can find projects to put on there. But I like Monaco and linen better. So thank you. I will do that, Sharon. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, I split my day, and then one day diamond paint and one day stitch. I'm trying that, Sharon, but I can tell you right now, once I start diamond painting, I can go for hours, and I'm like, and then I want to finish. Then the next day I want to finish a certain section, and I'm like, all right, I just went 7 days and I hadn't stitched yet. So I'm trying to do that. Starting with this week, I said I have to split my time between, I want to split my time because I really do like cross stitching, and I want to get some things finished. I want to have 1 or 2 things finished so I can, again, start to build my finished projects, because I have a spot in my house that I want to put some of my cross stitch projects. And again, it's not a race, and that's one thing I learned too going to the Ohio retreat. It's not a race, right? That's the difference between, I think, cross stitching and diamond painting. Diamond painting, you just want to get done. I want to finish it. I love it, and I want to finish it. And I feel the same way with cross stitching, but it's slower. It's slower pace. I love it. It calms me down. I can sit back. I can relax. I might be stitching for 2 hours and get X done. But I don't say to myself, oh my God, I got to stitch for 25 hours so I can get all this done. I just put it away and I move on. And I also started with just one project, and I'm like, okay, that's boring. It's just boring. So if I get tired of one, I move it to the side and start another one. So right now I have 4 projects that I'm working on. Monster House. Let's talk about that for a second. So I'm going to put this one back in here. So this is my, I'm calling it my little red project. And it shouldn't take me that long. It's a quick stitch. So I'm thinking I could sit down probably over the weekend. And there's no sitting down. I'll be in the car. My son goes back to school this weekend, so I'll be in the car for 6 hours. I might be able to stitch up some things while we're driving. Again, all my threads I put in here. And what I like to do is, and I have tons of thread because I actually was in a classic ColorWorks club for a year before I even started using this stuff. Yes, I hear you, Sharon. I hear you. So let me move this over. Let me show you guys something else here. And again, I have all types of needles, but I like the size 8. I have Bowen also. I like Bowen needles. So I like DMC for size 28. I think my Bowen needles are a size 28 as well. And I like Pat Carson needles. Pat Carson needles, to me, they're a little bit, which one is shorter? I want to say Pat Carson. Pat Carson, this is a size 26 needle, and it's a little shorter than the DMC needles, if I remember correctly. Yes, they're awesome though. I like the Pat Carson needles. Okay. Now let me show you. Oh, and I gotta get grime guards. I need to get those. I try to make sure my hands are clean before I sit down and stitch. My hands are clean. I make sure I have a little bit of lotion on. And I have this cut on this finger here, so I keep a band-aid there so it doesn't bother me. So Monster House I started, and Carrie probably knows this one. This is a sale going on right now, and it's the Monster House by, is it Satsuma? Correct me if I'm wrong, Carrie, if you're here. Now, I was having a lot of fun with this one, and I'm still on part 1. This one I was having a lot of fun. I stitched this in the car when I was driving about a month or 2 ago, a month and a half, whenever part 1 originally came out. But I haven't finished part 1, and I think we're almost on part 3. Correct me if I'm wrong, Carrie. But this one was fun too. So this one here, I'm doing this one on 28 count Monaco. And yes, this is 28 count Monaco, and I'm using DMC. And I can see this pretty good too. This one's fun. It's a lot of fun. But I wanted to do my sampler. So I was like, you know what? I want to work on my sampler. So I kind of just put this one away. I'll get back to it. Because if you're not having joy, right? Or if it's not fun, it's like move over. And this is, yes, and I'm using DMC. I'm using DMC for that Monster House. And this little thing here I got, I absolutely love it. This is a little case I got from Joann's, and it's called Stitch Bows, where you just take the DMC, you kind of take the little tags off, you wrap it right around these little bow. It takes like a minute, and then you stick it in here. I love it. I think that's pretty cool. And I have needles in here and all that good stuff. So I want to show you guys one other thing. So I appreciate this because I'm just looking for like some tips and looking for people to answer some questions for me. Because again, I'm new and I learned from the community. I like trying new things. I love learning, and I absolutely love cross stitch. Yes, Rhonda. I want to show you guys 2 more things. So there is another pattern in here. I love this too. I love this one here. But it's a darker fabric, so I figured I'm going to wait on that. I like stitching on a lighter fabric right now. But I love that one. I like samplers. I absolutely love samplers. So I'm going to show you guys 2 more things here. Let's see. See where I put it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. All right, here we go. So I don't know if you guys know Chantelle 141. You guys know Chantelle 141 Designs? I'm part of, so Brian, you asked me where I got the magazines from. It's Annabella's. Annabella's is where I got it from. There, she's on Etsy, Annabella's. I'm in her monthly mini club as well. But I want to show you guys something that I got from Chantelle 141. This was something, it was like a pre-order months ago. I like hands-on design. So hands-on design, I like Kathy's Spring Folk, Summer Folk, Autumn Folk. I ordered, and I love those. I probably will start those for next year. They're kind of like what she's calling band samplers. Oh my gosh, I love them. I already have the fabric for it. That's that 32 count Stormy Night linen. So, and I already have the DMC. So what I like to do is I like to have everything kind of ready. So when I get a pattern, which I have been acquiring patterns for a little bit now, if I know it's something I really want to stitch, I go ahead and get the DMC. And Joann's had a huge sale on DMC right before I went to the Ohio retreat, the Great Lakes retreat. And they were like, it was like 50% off. So I went and bought a bunch of it to go with the projects that I want to do either this year or next year. So 141, Chantelle from 141, she did a collab with Kathy from Hands On Design. And I love this. Right? I was just trying to think of like quick stitches that I can, when I travel, when I'm on the plane. That's the one thing about cross stitch. I can take it with me more so than my diamond paintings, because my diamond paintings are huge. I have some small projects, but you know, you got to carry the beads and all that good stuff. Cross stitches is just a little bit easier. I put it in my Sew Bingy bag. I try to take little small ones. So this here, I got the whole kit. So Chantelle 141 and Kathy from Hands On Design, they collab, and I have the little hoop that you put it in. Right, so this is the pattern. The pattern's on the other side, but this is what it's going to look like when it's finished. But I have to paint this. This is like a wood hoop. And here it looks big, right? But when I looked at this, I'm like, wait a minute. This is small because it's for this thing here. And I'm like, wait, how is that going to fit in here? So there's another one for this one. It's right here. It came in this packaging. So here it is here. But I had the paint for it. I had everything. So it's a cute project. It's like everything you need to create this. So it's not just a hoop that's already finished for you. I have to paint it and all that good stuff. So this one, I think I'm going to take this to the retreat as well too, because I want to try and take something that I can possibly finish. I might start a little bit of it, but I can take this on the plane, you know, the night before in the hotel. So Brian, you'll probably see me doing this one. So this here, and it came with the DMC. It's the whole kit, and it's so cute. It came in like this little lunch container or dinner container with this confetti. It's cute. So I have all the DMC I need to complete this Sorry Can't stitching by. I love it. As well as the finishing kit. And I have the fabric. And when I saw white, I was like, yes, but I wish I would have got it in linen. We had a choice. And at the time when I did this, it was months ago. And I got Ada, but it's okay. I'm going to do it on Ada. So it's Ada. And I think it's, I want to say it's 14 count Ada. Because this thing, I can see this like nobody's business. So again, I have the batting. I have the fabric for both pieces. I have the needle. They even give you the needles. Everything you need. I just wanted to show this because if you're looking for something where everything you need is included, it's all here. I even have the needle. There's a needle in there. That's pretty cool. And I don't know what this is, guys. I gotta check that. I gotta read. It's some type of cording. I'll figure that out. I have to read that. I'm not sure what that's for. But everything I need is an explanation for everything in here. So I'll take a look at that. That might be, I guess, after you finish your piece. You know, sometimes when you put if you're mounting it on this circle, you can use, I guess, this particular threading. It looks like cording a little bit to make sure that it's I guess you stitch the back of it so it is around the circle. I guess I gotta look at the finishing tutorial, so I'll take a look at that. So I have everything I need to complete this. Now this one I know I'm going to take, because this one, now you guys know I'm a talker, so I got to take something small that I think I can finish. I think I can finish this one at the retreat. I'm going to definitely take that one. This one I'm going to take, but I'm going to start this before I go to the retreat. All right. So what I'm hoping to do is, again, as I do more, I would love to come back on Facebook with you guys and share some of my experience. And if I have questions, you guys can help me. StitchCon sign up is September 4th. Oh, nice. I think I want to go to StitchCon. Sharon, when is StitchCon? Are you going? I would love to go. That's another thing. I want to go to I go to the Lone Star Retreat, which I love, because the Lone Star Retreat, we got some great stitchers there with some great projects. I love looking at their projects. June 2025. Okay. And we also have diamond painters, so it's best of both worlds. But I want to go to just a stitching retreat. So if you guys want to go, I mean, Sharon, if you're going, I'm going to go. I'm definitely going to go, as long as it's not the week that we do the Great Lakes retreat. So hopefully it's early June. And where is StitchCon? Where is it? June is a good month for me because my children play basketball, and I don't like to miss their basketball games, which is why I don't do much from October through April. Into March, into April, I don't do much because of basketball. Ohio. Okay, and Ohio's not far from me. I think I'm going to do that. Sharon, you going to go? I'm going to go. I'm going to sign up. Who else going? Brian, you go to StitchCon? Near Keepsake Store. I don't know what Keepsake Store is, but I'm going to look it up. And Stephanie's IG. Who is Stephanie? Let me write that down. Stephanie. Stephanie's Instagram. And Keepsake Store. Keepsake Store. All right, I'm in. Sharon, I'm in. As long as it's not the week of the Ohio retreat. I'm definitely in. That's awesome. Definitely. 2025. Okay, so it could be a waiting list. So it starts, do you know when sign-ups start? Or tell me what Stephanie, when you say Stephanie's IG. Maybe send me a private message on how I get to that. I will definitely, I'm in. I'm going to go. That's great. Okay, so again, I have tons of cross-stitch stuff to show. I'll probably do a YouTube video on some of my cross-stitch haul, but I'm going to wait until after this weekend because I'm going to be working on cross-stitch for the next couple of days, and I'll be at a point where I can show some progress, and hopefully if I have any questions, get my questions down, send them out to the community, and I would love for you guys to come on and just hang out with me. So this was a lot of fun. Got you. Keepsake Needle Shop in Ohio. They have a YouTube. Okay, I'll check that out. Stephanie and her mom, they own Keepsake's Needle Shop. Okay, Keepsake's Needle Shop. I got it. Okay. Well, that's awesome. Well, this was fun. I hope you guys had fun hanging out with me. I had some fun. And again, the more I do, the more questions I have. But I absolutely love cross stitch. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And again, I just wanted to come on and ask some questions about linen versus Aida, needle sizes, as well as you guys saw that Mrs. Liberty that I did. I cut the fabric the wrong size because I cut the fabric for 40 count. But I love this. I love this. And I'm going to, when I get my 40 count this weekend, I'll put something out on Facebook or Instagram just to let you guys know, because I'm going to start, as soon as I get my 40 count, I'm going to start Miss Liberty over because I love her. So thank you. Thanks for hanging out too, Marlon. Thank you all for coming out. So it's a little after 11. I'm going to shut it down now because I'm going to stitch for an hour. And want to get some stitching on that blue sampler that you guys saw. Thank you so much. I definitely will, Sharon. I will definitely reach out. And I'm going to stitch on that blue sampler tonight. And I'm going to stitch on that little PrimRose Cottage design that came out. Don't forget, got you on Instagram. I got it, Sharon. PrimRose Cottage. If you want a little free chart pattern, they got a nice little one, and it's not big at all. I don't think it'll take me that long to stitch it up, and it has, like I said, it has a heartwarming story behind it, so go check that out. All right, so I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. I'll let you guys know in a couple days how things are going. Check out my Instagram because I'll put some pictures out there probably by Friday. And this weekend, I will be on the road this weekend, but I may try and, do a pop-up on Sunday. I might not be able to do my normal YouTube that I try to put out there. Not a live. I do lives every other week, but I will try to put something out there that has to do with cross stitch. So thank you. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. Enjoy the rest of the week, and when you're diamond painting, don't forget to bling it up. And I will be blinging it up soon with my cross stitch. Give me a year on that. I want to make sure I get my stitching down, my technique down, and I will be blinging it up. Not yet with cross stitch, but I will get there. So thank you all, and enjoy the rest of the night. See you guys next time. Bye.